everybody, welcome to LAB, and it is officially summer. Yes, finally the sun is out, good things are happening, so I'm going to jump straight into the video so I don't keep you from the sun for any longer than is necessary. So a while ago I did a video about networking in person, which I will link up here, but you may be finding as the university semesters draw to a close that there aren't quite as many opportunities to go to networking events and do network in person. So social media is the next best thing to networking in person, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home. So let's get started on how to network on social media. First of all, in terms of what profiles to use. So I have 4 social media platforms. I use Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter. But I tend to only use LinkedIn and Twitter for business and professional networking, mainly because I find that businesses don't tend to engage as well as with the first two, and I tend to keep those only for my personal stuff, and I don't want there to be any overlap. So you can use the other two if you want to, but I strongly suggest that you set up completely separate profiles for your personal and your professional stuff, and there's no risk of overlap. Perhaps even set up your personal ones under a slightly different name or slightly different spelling of your name, so there's no danger of future employers or recruiters stumbling across them. Okay, so once you've set up your profiles, spend a long time building your profile, because this is quite often the first thing that recruiters or future employers might actually see. They might look at these before your interview. So it's really important that you get these right and these really put across the right image for you. First of all, the photo. It's really important to have a photo, because we all know that there are people out there who are using social media for not the best purposes, and one indication of someone who might be a bit rogue or not something you want to connect with is if they don't have a photo. So make sure you have one. It doesn't have to be a professional, it doesn't have to be done in a studio by a professional photographer, but it should just be a clear photo of you. Nothing unprofessional, not too much cleavage, not too much going on in the background. Make sure the light is nice and clear and it's a good professional photo of you. Avoid Snapchat filters or you in bikinis or anything like that, just a photo of you. The second thing is your description. This is really important as well, because you have a few lines just to describe yourself effectively. So describe yourself how you would want to be described to an employer. So if you're a first year law student, second year law student, the place that you've attended university, that's absolutely fine. If you're at work, say who your employer is, whether you're a paralegal or a legal assistant or whatever you might be. If you've got any roles that you're proud of, if you are president of the law society or treasurer of some society at uni, put that on there as well, because that all goes towards describing what kind of person you are. On Twitter, you only really have the option to put a very short description about yourself. On LinkedIn, there is much more room. You have the short description, but then you also have all the writing underneath to write paragraphs about yourself and describe yourself to the best of your ability. And I would recommend that you use that space to really talk yourself up and explain who you are and put yourself across in the way that you would want to in an application form or on your CV. You can also endorse yourself for skills, which is quite a useful thing. So there's lots of legal skills you can endorse yourself for: legal drafting, legal writing, negotiation, litigation, all those kinds of things. Have a look through the skills and endorse yourself for all of those that you think are relevant. Also, you can put all of the places where you've trained or where you've worked. So even if you've only worked somewhere for a couple of days work experience, put it on there, because it all goes towards CV building. So treat it like a CV. As you get older and more experienced, you might want to take some other stuff on there and replace it with new stuff. But for the time being, just put everything on there. Okay, so your profile's in order. Now, if you've had a bit of a revamp because you've had your social media profiles for a while, go through all the posts that you've ever posted and check that all of them are okay and they are in line with the image that you want to put across with the people who are seeing it. If you had them for a while, you might have put some stuff on there a while ago that you thought was a good idea at the time, but now it's not really so in keeping with your image. So make sure you delete any rogue comments, any posts which you don't think you would like your recruiter or future employer to see. Make sure they're off your profile. Now you are ready to network. So if you are new to social media, it's a good idea to try and build up a few connections and a bit of a network before you start approaching people that you don't know. Because one thing which can put people off is having a connection request or a follow request from someone who has 0 followers and 0 connections. So add your friends, add your family, add your law school tutors, add whoever you want, but add people who are going to add you back and build up a few people before you start approaching people outside of your circle. When you do start approaching people that you don't know, it's a good idea to start with friends of friends. So have a look at mutual contacts, because again, from the point of view of you requesting a friend request or a connection request, it's nice to see from the other person's point of view that there is somebody that you know within that circle. So it adds a bit of credibility to you if they can see you've got friends in common. On Twitter, all you can do is follow people. You can't incite any kind of reaction from them. They might follow you back, they might not. Don't be offended either way. With LinkedIn, you can actually send a connection request, which I would recommend doing over a follow request, because it then encourages someone to actually connect with you. So it's a more of an interactive relationship rather than you just following them. On LinkedIn, you can also send a message with your connection request if you want to, but if you are going to do that, make sure that it's just a friendly description of who you are. Be careful of jumping in with, I need a training contract, I want some work experience, because you're just going to put people off. This is supposed to be a two-way relationship with networking. It's as much about what you can get from them as to what they can get from you. So they want to know a little bit about you. They don't just want you bombarding them with questions and trying to bleed them for information. So just be mindful of that. What I would actually do is connect with people first, wait for them to accept your connection, and then send them a message if you want to. Once you've connected with a few people, think about what you want to post. So this is really important because this portrays what kind of person you are. Post as often as you possibly can. If you can post every day, that's great. You're going to get more connections more quickly. But if not, a couple of times a week is great. And think about the timing of when you want to formulate those posts. It may take a few goes to see when you get the most interaction. So post some before work, post some during the day, post some after work, and see when you get the most engagement, and then try and post regularly at those times. In terms of what to post, be broad, mix it up a little bit. Make sure it's always professional, because obviously you are engaging in a professional platform, but it doesn't always have to be about law or the news or commercial awareness. You can post a little bit about what you're doing if you're going to events or things that you're interested in, like sport. It just goes to portray a little bit about your personality as well, and that's what social media is about. It's not just a one-way street talking about articles and talking about law. It's about showing your personality as well. With Twitter, you've only got a few characters, and even though they've extended the character limit recently, I would recommend trying to keep them as short and punchy as possible, because you're likely to get more engagement that way. With LinkedIn, you can make them a little bit longer, a little bit more descriptive, and pack a bit more information in there. So do that, but don't make them essays, because people just switch off and they don't read half of them. But what is key to post on either Twitter or LinkedIn is making sure that you tag people in and you hashtag properly. So tag as many people into your post as you possibly can, because when you tag people in them, they will get a notification that they've been tagged, and they are likely to like your post, retweet, share, comment on, and that's what you want. You want maximum engagement, because the more engagement you get, the more exposure you get, and the bigger your network becomes. So make sure you are tagging people in both Twitter and Instagram. You just type the @ sign, and then you start typing the name of the person or the establishment that you want to include, and a drop down will come up, and you just choose the right one from that drop down, select it, and then they are tagged in your post. With hashtags, maximum of 3, and I would recommend using 3, and use them with care. Think about what you're trying to say, think about the main theme of the post, and hashtag one word which summarises the post. Also, if you go to an event, the event is likely to have a specific hashtag attached to it. So make sure you know what that hashtag is and you use it. And then add one that's a little bit different as well, a little bit unique to you, and describes how you feel about the event or how or about the post. If you're using a common hashtag like the hashtag for the event, that's going to get you more exposure as well, because there are going to be more people tweeting that hashtag or talking about it on LinkedIn. So make sure you are hashtagging that particular one if there is one which goes with the thing that you're talking about. As well as posting, also interact with other people. So share other people's posts, like them, comment on them, interact with other people as well, because that's going to get you more exposure. Because if you comment on other people's posts, all of the people who have seen that post will also see your comment or your share, thus building your network, which is what it's all about. Another good thing to do is be an informative person. Be someone that other people want to follow, so give out useful information. For example, I follow someone on Twitter who literally just gives traffic updates all day. I'm not suggesting that you do that, but I find it really useful. So be of use, talk about events, tell people things that they want to know that are interesting, or events that they might want to sign up for and how they can sign up for those events. Big up people that you know, people that you respect, so that it shows that you are actually helping other people. It's not all about you and showcasing yourself. It's about bringing in other people and talking about how great other people are as well. Be careful about posting really strong views. So at the beginning, it's good to have an opinion because it shows who you are and you're not afraid to say who you are. But be careful of saying anything too controversial, because you're likely to alienate whole groups of people, which is not what you want to do at the beginning. Later on, when you've got a massive following, you can be opinionated if you want to, because you can risk losing followers. But at the beginning, just avoid doing that, because you're likely to do yourself more harm than good. Okay, that's it. Sorry this has gone on for so long, even though I tried to make it short, but there was a lot of information to cram in, and I hope that's all been helpful. I am going to do a separate video about how to make connections and actually turn that into a meeting, but I'm not going to cover that today because this video is already too long. I hope you've enjoyed it, found it helpful. As always, leave me comments, feedback, what I can include, how to make it better, and I will see you in my next video. Go and enjoy the sun. Bye bye.